Good morning guys, I'm Chris and welcome back to this Sunday's episode of Rift Amps. Cool, mystery box time. I haven't had one of these in for a while. It could be one of 3 that I think are being posted to me. So I have no idea which one this is. Very interesting. Right, I'm trying to be careful because it's got personal information on, which I obviously can't show on camera. You can show my information. You all know where Rift is. Let's get into this, shall we? Find out what's in the mystery box. Can we see? We can see. We can see fine. Customer sent me some information there. I'm not going to show you, but let's carry on unpacking. Got a jiffy bag that says there's an odd rectifier valve I think I used in some old Fenders and 2 times EL83s. Wow. I've had these years. Please have them. I hope you can use them. Oh, that's very kind. We've got a mystery bag in a mystery box. Wow, look at the size of that box. 5U4 Marconi. Now that's cool. Supplied by the Marconi Company Limited, Chelmsford, Essex, which is where I was born. It's like an ice cream cone, isn't it? Wow, look at that. Look at that absolute beauty. Fantastic. Oh, we'll get that on the tester. Look at that. Stick it back in the ice cream cone. Keep it safe. Here you go. One from the hometown. How cool is that? Let's look at these EL83s. EL83? EL34s. Mallard boxes. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Are they Mallards inside? What do we think? Oh, yeah. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Mallard EL34s. That's one of them. And the other one? Yeah, and another one. Fan, look at that. Wow. God, I don't deserve this. Do you know what these would go really well in? Not the 5U4, but the 2 Mallards. Those would be perfect for the train wreck build that I'm doing. We'll make sure they're matched. We'll stick them on the tester. But those, absolutely, what a score. Those will be perfect. Absolutely perfect to match the old output transformer that we're using on that train wreck build. Yeah, let's do that. Whoa! Speaking of train wrecks, I've got an update coming for you soon. We'll do train wrecking part 3 very soon. I'm just waiting for something to turn up and then I can get that filmed and completed and out the door. Not out the door, uploaded. Right, we'll crack on with this mystery box then. What have we got? Very well packaged. Got another jiffy bag. We won't go through the bag of valves because we want to get this amp out, find out what it is. Have you worked it out yet? A silver plate, black line, Princeton reverb, chassis only. Can I also just say, if you're going to send me a chassis only, brilliant, love that. We don't have to worry about the cabinet. But look, he's mounted it on a board to protect it. Removed all the valves, packaged those separately. That's how you do it. If you're ever unsure, this is what you do. Okay, power transformer. 24th week of 1967. Schumacher, of course. Output transformer. 25th week of 66. Reverb transformer. 33rd week of 67. Now that's interesting, isn't it? Now that is interesting. Got a chassis stamp here. 7th week of 66, is that right? I need to double check how to read these. I can't remember off the top of my head. Serial number is A18771. Fender Musical Instruments, right. Okay, so as you can see, he's cut the mains cable off the amp, and it's got a strange ground thing going on here. So, and he's taped up the socket there. Okay, 27th of January. Oh dear, why is that so wobbly? Oh, I see. Hi Chris, here are some notes about the Princeton. Please fit a new 240 volt power transformer. It could have a kettle lead IEC socket in the old 110 volt outlet, or double throw main switch and fixed lead. So, okay, that's up to me then. Please move the master volume to the rear ground switch hole. Oh, look. Somebody's replaced the intensity control with a master volume. So he wants that into the ground switch hole on the rear. There. Okay. I can see a few odd bits of wiring. Make sure you can see this. These were done by an old friend, an amp tech no longer with us. I wanted more gain at lower volume, so we put in the master volume knob and tweaked the tone a bit. I've always been happy with the tone, so the odd things on the bass pot could stay if you think they don't do any harm. Odd things on the bass pot. Oh, yeah. Some things going on there. Got a resistor and a cap in parallel. No, they're not in parallel, but they're wired in. Oh, they're feed to it, and then coming off, he's paralleled the mid resistor with another small polyester cap. So, Dave, you don't think they do any harm? Okay, fine. The rest of the amp can go back to stock. Change any caps that need it. There was an AT7 rather than a 7025 in V1. No idea how long this was like this. This can go back to stock. Feel free to add any safety features, screen blockers, grid stoppers, pair of diodes to the GZ34, 100 ohm virtual sensor tap instead of the standard sensor tap on the heater. Thanks so much, Pete. Right, okay. Yes, I know this amp now. So, yeah, customer wants a 240 volt conversion, and he's happy for me to do an IEC socket if required. And if I can do it without drilling in extra holes, and it's the same size as this, I can remove. Just show you what I'm talking about, really. Remove this socket, blank that off, have an IEC socket on the rear, undo the master volume mod, or put that on the rear, reinstate the tremolo, pretty much put it back to stock, fix any issues, give it a good service, and a sort out. Cool! Wow, I'm quite excited by this. Can you spin it around? Inside it says 67, so who knows what's going on. I think 67's probably about right for this amp. But it's nice though, isn't it? It's nice. It looks really nice. It's a different knob there. Very cool. Very cool indeed. All right, so that's another thing to get stuck into then. Really cool. So, transformer. Who are we going to use? I think our options really are going to be. Do you know how impressed I was with that Hammond recently? It was really, really good. So I think the options are going to be one of the new Hammonds, or we'll get Modulus to wind us something, because he's doing some cracking transformers again at the moment. Again, he's currently doing some cracking transformers. They're always spot on. They sound great. The voltages are perfect. He's quickly becoming my favourite transformer winder for one-off stuff. So I'll price one of those up, price up the Hammond, go back to the customer and give him the option, and then he can decide what he wants to do. And yeah, we could do the rest of the amp. But look, it's modified silver plate Princeton reverb that we are essentially putting back to stock, but giving it a 240 volt mains. Okay, Headstrong Little King then. Bit of a story behind this. My customer bought this privately from someone here in the UK. We believe it's a 2012 model. The Little King, for those that don't know, is Headstrong's version of a Princeton reverb. It's pretty obvious by looking at it. Yeah, so he bought it privately, I think the tail end of last year. It had some issues. He took it to his local amp tech, who did some work on it, fixed some of the issues, and has made it generally quite a nice performing amplifier. It's still got one issue though, or two issues really, that he wanted me to look at, because this is more my neck of the woods, my wheelhouse as it were. So it's got on quite an interesting distortion on the tail of bass notes, which the customer finds really annoying. So we'll look into that and see what we can find. The second issue is that it's got it did have a really noisy or loud noise floor. The other amp tech did various work on it and has made quite a big improvement to it. I've measured it and it's now well within spec, but the customer has asked if there's any time left out of the 2 hours he's paying for. Will I have a look to see if there's anything we can do to try and improve it? So that's what it's in for. So let's get this thing apart, get it on the bench, and see if we can identify anything that's immediately wrong with it. Actually, let's start with the transformers, shall we? Little King number 354. I think they're Hayboa transformers. They've had the stickers removed, the labels removed, so it's difficult to tell what they originally were, but they do look like Hayboas. 2 6v6s running a GZ34 rectifier. That's about it. Not really much to say on that side. Spin it over. Can you see? Okay, so we've got pretty much a standard Princeton layout. Fibre board, circuit board, got Mallory coupling caps, carbon comp resistors, Sprague electrolytics, JJ cap can, some metal oxides throughout. Yeah. What we've got going on here? So we've got the high voltage sensor tap going to this tag strip. Oh, it said, which is then grounded through, connected to the middle pin. From here, we've got our output valve cathodes connected there. Bias supply, can we still see this? Bias supply up here, grounded to a tag strip, sharing a ground with the cap can ground there. Shouldn't really be using transformer bolt, but is what it is. Okay, all right. Interesting grounding scheme. So you've got a bus bar along the back of the pots, which are then grounded up at the preamp. Okay, can create ground loops that way, but because they're grounded not only there but also through the pot casing to the chassis. So we'll see if we can improve that for the customer. But yeah, this is the inside of the amp. I'm not just showing you what it is. All right. Looks like it has had some shielded wires from the input jacks to V1A and from the volume control to V1B. That really helps with noise floor. But yeah, that's inside a Headstrong Little King. Let's get this thing on the test bench, stick a scope on it and check its output. Right, she's been up and running now for around 20 minutes, fully warmed up. B plus at the first node, 413 volts, which is fine. It's not really far out of spec, happy with that, not a problem. It's not going to be the cause of any issues. So let's just start with the output sine wave. You see that? Fine, that looks good. Right, okay. Into 8 ohms. Into input 1, treble and bass on 1, reverb off, 150 millivolt RMS sine wave, 1 kilohertz, into the front end, and there's our output. Okay. Advance it up, advance it up. It's just squaring off there. Back it down. Okay, what's that? 10.4 volts. Call it 10.5. Is that the maximum we can get? Yeah, because it squares off after that point. 10.5 gives us 13.8 watts. Okay, cool, great. Treble, bass, reverb, all seems to be fine. So let's drive this thing. There's no parasitics going on. Very nice sine wave output. Very nice indeed. Okay, let's try some bass frequencies. So let's go with 100 hertz, shall we? Frequency 100 hertz. Come in this way. Still just 10 volts. 12.5 watts, fine. But we've got quite an interesting hump coming up on this side, but not on the return side. Yeah, it's pretty obvious there, isn't it? Just at the point of clipping, you can see there's that hump there. Interesting. Okay. So no immediate parasitic oscillation, at least on the output. Okay, back to the amp then. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. So I'm just going through. We've got pretty standard values throughout. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. The coupling cap from reverb recovery is normally a 3N3. That's a 4N7. So that's been increased. I think that's a head first preference. But apart from that, we all seem to be pretty standard values throughout. 2K7 on the negative feedback. Slight change of values for the tremolo to try and speed down the minimum speed. Fine. 470k there rather than 1 meg. That's to help increase the tremolo throb. Low speeds. The rest of it is all pretty standard. So there's nothing crazy going on in this amp that's going to be causing any problems. Yes, the grounding scheme could be improved. Yes, the lead dress can be improved. You see we've got an anode wire here directly next to a grid wire. So those need separating away from each other. But apart from that, not horrendous, not the end of the world. I think mainly it's just improving the grounding scheme on this. I think if we just improve the grounding scheme, because I can already see there's going to be quite a few ground loops in the preamp. We need to tie all these grounds together, not on a transformer bolt. So I'll get permission to put a tag there, a grounding point there, a mini ground. We'll get all of our power grounds going to there. Some 1 ohm resistors on the power valves would be helpful. We haven't got any screen or grid stoppers on the output valve. Okay, interesting. I think we need to add those, especially if we want the valves to last longer. Now, when the customer dropped this off, we did play test it, and I noticed that the bottom end did sound wrong. How do I describe it? A bit too grindy, a bit too flubby, but not in the nice way. Now, whether that's a fault with the circuit or the way it's been designed or something else we'll get into. But that might be related to the customer complaint of this weird distortion on lower notes when it tails off. There is a tiny bit of ghosting going on as well that we heard, so I would be inclined at the moment to fix this grounding scheme. Poor grounding schemes cause all sorts of problems. I would want to just, slightly tweak the lead dress, just so make sure we're not causing any problems that we don't need to be, and take it from there. Okay, Laney. So where are we up to? What do we know so far? Yeah, the good news is the power transformer is okay. The issue is in fact the voltage selector switch. I think I told you that in the last video. But we're going to hardwire it for 240 volt anyway, and the easiest way to do that is just move the center connection over to the 240 volt tap, and that's that issue sorted now. Cool. Going to give it a full recap. So I've got a big old bag of F&Ts to go in. So we've got to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 as a minimum. Maybe the bypass caps in the preamp over here, we'll see. The main job, however, is I'm going to strip down, completely clean, and remove all that dielectric grease that's all contaminated, and then we're going to have new screen and grid stoppers on the output valves. Alongside that, there's other components within the circuit that I need to check, replace. Got to give this thing a proper service. We've got all cleaning. Need to fix the mains grounding, the fusing. Need to come up with a solution for the broken dual light over here. Not sure what we're going to do, but we'll look into that. But the first thing for me really is got to get these sockets clean. So that's what I'm going to crack on with. I thought about time-lapsing it, but I don't know how long it's going to take, and it's really not going to be that exciting, but wish me luck. Right, back on with the Vox AC10. The chassis work is all complete now. I'm quite happy with that. I just need to reinstall it into the cabinet and give it a final play test. A couple of jobs left on the cabinet. The first one was to remove all of the old melted wax from the mounting board that was there, where it obviously leaked out of the transformer. That's all now done. Very nice, very happy. Second thing was I was going to investigate the reason that the speaker wires were all taped up, and having removed the tape, zoom you in, lots of insulation failure on this wire, which is obviously why they taped it up. So I've got to make a decision on whether I replace this wire or, if I zoom you out, I just re-insulate it with heat shrink, so we can carry on using it as it was. Although I will check with the customer, and if he wants me to replace the speaker wire with newer stuff, absolutely happy to do that, no problem at all. So I'll quickly send him a message and ask the question, see what he wants me to do. And then apart from that, it's just reassemble, final play test, and I'll call it quits. Oh no, I did forget. I'm really struggling to find a bottom for the foot switch. There used to be a place where you could buy them from, but not anymore, so I'm still on the search. So hopefully I'll find something before this video comes out. If not, I guess we could try and make something, trace something out and make something to go over there, but it's a vintage amp, we want to do it properly, so yeah. But that's where I am with the Vox. Okay, all back together. Customer approved, made the right choice for a new speaker cable, which I've done. That's all connected up. Foot switch is back in. Everything where it should be. I've just got to do the rear panels, the rest of the rear panel screws, give this thing a quick clean, and we are done. Do you remember the egg foot switch? Well, couldn't source the bottom, so I've made one. Customer approved. That's okay. It's a nice bottom there for it, which is fine. That's good. So yeah, all done now. Not really much anything to report. To be honest with you, it sounds exactly the same as the last AC10 we had in, so I'm not going to do you a demo. But apart from that, yeah, another one to sign off. Really happy with it. Sounds great. All done. All of his issues sorted. Give it a good thumbs up. Briefly before we go, I'll give you an update on the Laney. The recap has now been done, as you can see, and I fired it up on the bench, did a voltage map, all seemed to be okay. These are the bias figures, so we've ended up 76% on one side and 81% on the other, so we're not biased too hot. We are slightly hotter than I'd like to be, so I am going to bring those down, but we're not too bad. I did put 1Ks on the screens rather than 470 ohms, just because that's a better value for 1Ks really. They just had that extra little bit of protection for EL34. So fired this thing up and no output. So I've started signal tracing. These input jacks are dead, or at least they need a really, really good clean. I need to pull them out and do it. But if you wiggle your input in there and wiggle it, it does kick in. But for the time being, I just went directly to the grid, so I could start signal tracing. And I'm just slowly working my way through. One thing I did have, however, is the two coupling caps to the output stage were both leaking. These are the two that were had this weird shadowing on. They both, unfortunately, are leaking DC, so they've had to come out, which is a shame, but we don't want to risk red plating our output valves with leaky coupling caps. So that's pretty much where I'm up to at the moment, but the thing is alive. It does pass signal, but I'm just working my way through all of the pots, all of the jacks, all of it. Very dirty, in need of a good goddamn service. So I'm just working my way through. It's fine. There will be an update in next week's video. Well, that's it then, guys. Thank you very much for watching once again. As always, please give this video a thumbs up. All your comments, questions down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe. The subscribe numbers are going through the roof. It's amazing. A lot of new viewers this week thanks to the Laney video. You can see it behind me there. Hit the notification bell so you know when new videos come out. If you're feeling super generous, please join the channel like these guys have, and I will catch you all at the next one.